Sup ballers? Welcome to another video that you can play in the background while you pretend to telework. We pick up after the 2020 season where we started our new team, the Pikachus. Probably won't do anything this season, but who knows, baseball is weird. Before we begin, I want to give a shout out to a loyal subscriber, Tim, who messaged me on Twitter suggesting I rename one of the minor league teams to the Pichus. Well Tim, here you go. You were one of my first subscribers and I'm happy to have you helping in my creative outlet. To start off, here are the before and after personnel hires. I'm reluctant to include this in my videos at this point, but if I don't, someone would ask about it. For salary arbitrations, I offer contracts near estimates with a couple of exceptions. Sean Manaea gets an $11 million deal over 2 years. I think he's going to be a contributor for the next few seasons, and this is a pretty good deal on our end. Adam Duvall agrees to a 2-year deal worth $8.1 million. Mostly did this because he was cheap and our budget doesn't allow for much at this point. Zach Eflin and Diolis Guerra are apparently a couple of pussies and refuse to negotiate new contracts.
What is it, you period?
I'll get back to them in a moment. I make a few trades, the first with the Rockies, who send Charlie Blackmon retaining 35% and 3 minor leaguers for Mike Montgomery, Yangervis Solarte, Michael Feliz, Kurt Casale, and a minor leaguer. I basically traded a bunch of replacement players for a veteran bat with pop. Next trade is with the Cardinals, sending pussy Zach Eflin and Diolis Guerra for Miles Mikolas retaining 20% and 4 minor leaguers. I actually think I got more out of this trade than I would have with them on my roster for the next 10 seasons. Last trade is with the Nationals, sending Jeff Hendricks and Dakota Chalmers for Hansel Robles, retaining 95% and a minor leaguer. No real reason for this other than to open up some space on the 40-man roster. Jake Smolinski is non-tendered and is subsequently released. To prepare for the Rule 5 draft, I add Tyler Freeman, JB Bukauskas, Will Crow, Colton Welker, Seth Elledge, and Alexander Guillen to the 40-man roster. We reached the free agency period and here are some of the available talent we have to choose from, but somehow, I'm back to scrolling rather than screen turns. What did I do to deserve this?
No words. My words have failed me.
Well then, shut up.
I offer Andrelton Simmons a 5-year contract worth $83.75 million. I think this is a good signing for my middle infield. Jackie Bradley Jr. accepts a 2-year deal worth $11.5 million. I'm a little unsure about this, but at least I'll have a decent fielder for center. International free agent Futoshi Akutagawa is offered a $2 million contract over 1 year, but he wants more money and I go up to $3.5 million, which he accepts. Ian Kennedy goes for a $14 million deal over 1 year. Again, unsure about this one, but it's only for 1 year and I'm pretty confident this season is going to suck anyway. For the Rule 5 draft, I make a rather interesting pick in Jose Devers. Taking a look, his ratings indicate he's potentially a slightly above average player, but I liked his I rating and wanted in. We reached spring training and discovered that the Pirates are relocating to Columbus and will now be known as the Hornets. Don't know if you know this out of the park, but there's already a team called the Hornets in professional sports. Pretty sure you just can't have two. Lots of confusion and potentially copyright and trademark infringements. Maybe think this out a bit more. Jeter Downs is out for 5 weeks, Seth Elledge is out for 2 to 3 weeks, and Will Crow is out for 14 months. What the fuck?
Well, that's less than ideal.
We arrive at opening day, and after the usual demotions, here are the pitching assignments and lineup I'm left with. Per tradition, I played the opening day game, and here's the lineup I went with. The Pikachus put up quite a fight in this game. We cracked 3 homers, including this 2-run bomb by Chuck Nasty in the bottom of the 5th inning, but it wasn't enough as we lose to the Orioles 5-6. And now we have to live with the humiliation of having been beaten by one of the worst teams in baseball.
Do you understand how we are?
Sam Elledge is no longer injured and is sent down to AAA. At the same time, Jeter Downs is also no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. I make a trade with the Rockies, sending Jonathan Haraz and Corbin Klaus for Kyle Freeland and 3 minor leaguers. I don't expect much out of K-Free, but the minor leaguers were appealing to me. To make this trade work, I call up Jeter Downs. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. We reached May having done pretty well with a 22-12 record, a .647 win percentage, first in the division. I'm calling this a fluke, but am pleasantly surprised nevertheless, thanks in part to impressive pitching to date, as reflected by these pitching stats, and on that note, here are my batting stats. I demote Jeremy Walker and call up Jonathan Herman. These are my pitching assignments. And Jeter Downs is suspended.
Are you fucking kidding me?
We enter June still doing pretty well with a 35-28 record, a .556 win percentage, second in the division. Again, calling this a fluke, but this is pretty fun to watch anyway. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I make a trade with Columbus, which feels really weird to say, sending Kyle Freeland, Hansel Robles, Jeremy Walker, and Daniel Johnson for Joe Musgrove and a minor leaguer. But if you take a look, we see our old friend Felipe Vasquez is still on the Major League roster. Do they play the home games from his prison cell?
And there in the high security bleachers are the good behavior cons, along with their cheerleaders.
As far as Joe Musgrove is concerned, he has average ratings overall, but great control, which might be enough to be successful, so why not? To make this trade work, I call up Eric Marinez and Nico Decolati. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. Jose Devers is out for 2 weeks, and I call up Tyler Freeman in his place. This is my new lineup. Draft time, and we have the first pick! And as before, we have a lot of money to give as signing bonuses, so our first pick gets $7 million, but our third pick gets $4.8 million, and our seventh gets $12 million. Eric Marinez is out for 3 to 4 months, not ideal, and I call up Tommy Bergjans in his place. These are my new pitching assignments. Jose Devers is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. Mid-season goals time, and the owner has mixed feelings about my job performance. Apparently, this guy demands immediate gratification.
He's a total fucking asshole.
We arrive at July, finally having fallen below a winning record to 43-45, a .489 win percentage, third in the division. Now the question is, how low will we go? These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I make a trade with the Blue Jays, sending Jonathan Herman and a minor leaguer for Juan Nicasio. Honestly, this wasn't a great trade to make, but why the hell not? These are my new pitching assignments. Jose Devers is no longer injured, and I demote Tyler Freeman to make room on the Major League roster. This is my new lineup. Miles Mikolas is out for 6 weeks, and I call up Brian Keller to replace him. These are my new pitching assignments. And Sean Manaea is suspended.
Get the fuck out of here, you.
Spencer Howard is out for 4 months, getting a little tired of the injuries now. I call up Mirandy Gonzalez to replace him. These are my new pitching assignments. Charlie Blackmon decides he's not going to let this team hold him back and goes on a 20-game hit streak. Atta baby. I make a trade with the Braves, sending Adam Duvall, retaining 25%, and Joe Musgrove for Damon Jones and 2 minor leaguers. After seeing Jones' ratings, which indicate he has great stuff and a wicked change, I had to go for him. To make this trade work, I call up Brewer Hicklin. This is my new lineup. Somehow, I lost the footage for the pitching assignments. Very sorry. We reach August, having turned things around with a 61-56 record, a .521 win percentage, second in the division. Could we actually reach the playoffs this season? Maybe? These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. Per the usual tradition, I play the game after the trade deadline, and here's the lineup I went with. This game was more or less a blowout, aided in part by this 3-run homer by Kevin Padlow in the top of the 8th inning, and we go on to cream the Rays 10-4. I might be jinxing it, but we actually have a shot here. Miles Mikolas is no longer injured and is sent on a rehab assignment. At the end of the month, Tucker Davidson was named Pitcher of the Month and Kevin Padlow was named Batter of the Month.
Nice job.
We get to September with an 81-65 record, a .555 win percentage, second in the division, and currently claim the first wildcard seed. No matter what happens at this point, our expansion team will not have a losing record in only its second season of existence. I call that a win. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. Taking a look at Tucker Davidson, he's currently boasting a .251 ERA, a 1.09 WHIP, and a .230 BABIP. Pretty damn impressive for someone I DFA'd in my decades-long run. And as far as Kevin Padlow is concerned, he's sporting a .282 average, 34 home runs, an .892 OPS, and 3.3 wins above replacement. Apparently, I managed to pick up some pretty underrated players. For roster expansion, my only move is to call up Miles Mikolas. These are my new pitching assignments. And the only thing of note during the month is Eric Marinez getting sent down to AAA as he comes off the injured list. We reach the end of the season somehow taking first in the division with a 92-70 record and a .568 win percentage. Here are my pitching stats to end the season, as well as my batting stats. And with that said, we are actually going to the fucking playoffs. One player of note is Jeter Downs, who was a 2020 player during the season, cracking 28 home runs, swiping 38 bases, while carrying a .293 batting average, a .950 OPS, and 5.4 wins above replacement. I told you this guy is a franchise player. This guy could end up being our first real franchise player. See, I told you. We must set our playoff roster, and here are the pitching assignments and lineup that I ended up with. We end up sweeping the Twins in the NLDS and follow that up by beating the Rays in the NLCS in 6 games. And with that, the Pikachus, in only their second year of existence, are in the fucking World Series.
Holy shit.
We faced the Nationals in the final series of the season, and, well, we made it this far. Let's see how this ends.
Look how many opportunities for bankruptcy there are.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, here's one now. Okay.
Oh, no, that's good. Wait,
like
what?
What? Whoa, what the fuck is that? What?
Whoa.
What?
That's not okay.
Figures. To end the season, both Charlie Blackmon and Jackie Bradley Jr. exercised the remainder of their contracts, the owner is happy with my performance, about fucking time, and our market size increases. Well, that's it for today. I can't believe the success we had in such a short time span. Come back next time to see if we can do better, which, frankly is just winning the last game of the season. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because otherwise you'll get coronavirus.